Explains to me he pays 160 in rent and he wants to buy a house. I said, okay, you mean 1600 a month? He goes, no, 160. And I said, 160 a week? He goes, no, I pay $160 a month. I said, that's all you pay? He goes, yeah. And I said, where do you live? And he explains that he lives with family. And I said, okay, that makes sense. So you want to buy a house. For reference, I'm a loan officer. I help people get mortgages to buy a house. I said, do you have a budget in terms of what you can afford monthly? And he goes, well, I don't know. I just want to see what I qualify for. I said, okay, what's your credit? He explains to me that his credit is in the 700s. I was like, okay, you have good credit. And I said, do you have any money saved? And he says, yeah, I have about 20,000 saved. I was like, okay, so he has good credit. He has money saved. What's your income? And he says, I actually make about $17 an hour. I was like, okay, 17 an hour. Do you work 40 hours a week? He goes, yeah. I said, so you're making about $35,000 a year. He goes, I don't know, but I make $17 an hour and I always work 40 hours. I was like, okay, so you gross in about $3,000 a month. I said, what do you actually take home on a pay period? He goes, about $950 twice a month. I was like, okay. I said, do you have to leave where you are? He goes, no, just people were telling me I should buy a house. I was like, so you can live where you are, pay $160 a month. I said, do you not like it? He goes, no, it's fine. I actually like it. Everything's perfectly good there. I said, well, I know I'm in the business of helping people get mortgages to buy a house, but if you're living for $160 a month and you're currently making 17 bucks an hour, you have 20 grand in the bank, I'd work on increasing that income. I'd work on saving more money, but I think I would move out. I think that's a perfect rent situation for your current finances.